Hello, Oracles. Will Tesla stock break below $100 today? We shall see. Nobody knows for sure. Right now, at the time of this recording, we are down to 105. We closed yesterday at 109. That means that after hours and pre-market now, we are down another $4. Looking at the RSI alone, just one of the indicators that you guys know that I use, on the daily chart, the RSI is under 16 right now. And just because we are oversold on the daily chart does not mean that we are oversold in the other areas on a longer term basis. So for instance, the weekly chart, we are at an RSI of 27. That is now in the oversold range, but in times like this, we can get down to 20. So we may have some more downward pressure to go. This is something we've talked about on here. My worst case scenario is a bottom of $57. That is that $57 gap, and I think that would be the absolute worst case scenario. There is a possibility that we get down to $80. When we look at the monthly RSI, we are still at 37. That is not oversold. Definitely pushing down, but not oversold. So perhaps we end up coming down a little bit. We do this another dead cat bounce, and then we flush some more out on that monthly chart. Just some things that I am looking at and paying attention to. So again, getting to this $100, that is the next level I was looking at to deploy more cash. We got here way faster than I had thought. So I don't know how much more I am going to be adding at these levels, but because of how much I add on a daily basis, which is $25, that gets stretched a lot further as the stock price comes down. So my need to put more money in isn't as much. So, I'm still getting a good bang for my buck just from my daily dollar cost averaging. So me having this extra cash on the side gives me a lot more room to play with. And I was having some discussions with you guys, about how I don't have a lot of shares. I only have 51 shares in my main portfolio and 22 in my IRA. So when I see it fluctuate, sure, the actual dollar amount is not as much as many other people out there, but it's all relative. For me, that is a significant chunk of my portfolio. My portfolio is down over 50%. So regardless of whether it's $5, $10,000, or $100,000, to me, that is still a lot of money. So watching that come down that much isn't very easy for me. I just keep that positive attitude because I keep on thinking towards the future, and I have focused all of my efforts on investing in areas that bring me cash flow generation. That's between this channel, my other job, other outside ventures that I have going on, and then saving up that cash. I have that in a CD right now that is recouping some more money for me even faster. And then once the housing market comes down, I'll deploy that into that so I can get even more cash flow generation there. That is the reason why I can stay positive, because I have worked up a plan for myself specifically to be able to balance all of this where I can still add every single day. It's not going to break the bank for me, and I stay within my means for investing. That to me is really what it comes down to stay positive. So it has nothing to do with the actual dollar amount. It has to do with that dollar amount for me specifically. And this is something that I do help other people with as well, not as financial advice, but I can help some people answer some questions that they have to try and determine what the amount is right for them to invest where it's not breaking the bank and they can still live within their means and also invest as well to keep that nice balance going. That to me is really what I have found over this past year, is that balance. And sure, maybe if this was 10 years from now and I didn't have as much money going in with cash flow generation to offset these losses, I have no doubt it would hit me harder. I know many of you have said that, you've been investing for 8 to 10 years now. So you have this time that's invested in, and now you're seeing the portfolio deplete. So I do understand that that is two different scenarios there. However, for me and a lot of you guys on here who are in my similar situation, this is how I have kept it that way. For those of you who have been invested for a long time, I still go back and I ask the same questions I have asked everyone all along the way. What is your timeline thesis? How long do you plan on holding? Do you think over that timeline, Tesla is going to recover and get back to all-time highs? I'm going to be sharing with you guys this weekend all of my price targets through 2033, all of the failures I made in 2022, all of the things and predictions I have for 2023. And one of the things I look at is I see us getting back to all-time highs by 2025 at the latest. Absolute latest bear case scenario, we will be back to all-time highs in 2025. So for those of you who are longtime holders and your portfolio is down significantly, if you are intending to hold through at least 2025, do you also think that you are going to see all-time highs in the stock price? If that's the case, then everyone who has bought up to this point will be green by 2025. And that's even if you do not dollar cost average to lower your cost basis at all. So just some things to think about to put it into perspective for yourself. Other things to look at between now and 2025 are the fact that going through these times right now is going to be very difficult for some of these startups and legacy automotive makers. We know that even Elon himself said that if we had this whole entire economic storm going on during 2018, Tesla would most likely go bankrupt. Would not even be a question. But they have built themselves up to a point where they won't be. However, we have some startups like Rivian and Lucid who are going to be facing these struggles as if it was Tesla in 2018. So there's a good chance they may end up going bankrupt. When it comes to legacy auto, I'm hearing word that we've got Toyota in North America sending out messages to all of their employees saying that they are looking at doing a 50% production cut for an extremely difficult 2023. And if this extends into 2024, they may have to downsize their business. And this is the reality that we are seeing over in legacy auto right now. Recessionary times hit the automotive market very hard. You know, this is a high ticket item that a lot of times people will say, well, instead of buying a new car, I'm either going to buy used or I'm going to go ahead and just get my current vehicle repaired, if that is a possibility. This is something that a lot of people do to push off those expenses because we're in a recession. Maybe they've lost their job, whatever the reason is, that happens. And then because interest rates are so high right now, legacy auto is probably going to default on a lot of their loans as well. They're going to get a lot of people who are not buying these. Someone else also brought up a great point when it comes to leases. Anybody who has a 2 to 3 year lease on an ICE vehicle right now, when those leases come up and they come due, those ICE vehicles are no longer going to be as desirable. So the resale value on those vehicles is going to be plummeting significantly, and legacy auto will lose a lot of money on those vehicles just because the value wasn't worked into the initial lease. So a lot of this can play out over the next 3 years. A lot can change in this landscape. And don't forget, right now, with the stock price coming down the way it is, a lot of the future is getting priced out of the stock price. You know, right now we have FSD, Optimus, Energy. Almost none of that is being priced in. I mentioned it on last night's video. Tesla right now is becoming valued a lot more like just an automotive company than the tech company that they truly are. So what happens if we get to that point in the future where all of those future things that were priced in before and are no longer priced in now can get priced back in again? Just think about that. Now, this is just a what if, but if we get to that point where Tesla, the automotive company, starts coming out with things like FSD, Energy starts taking off, or Optimus starts taking off, maybe some other software, robotaxis, what happens to the valuation if and when those things come to fruition? You guys can let me know in the comments below what you think, but to me, thinking about that possibility and then thinking about where we're getting priced in right now, we are looking at a significant disconnect between what the potential is in the future and where we currently are right now. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed in the future, so that is still a risky bet, but based upon where we have seen Tesla going, and this is where the sentiment was the last 2 years. Don't forget, there's a big reason we were in that massive bubble that we were in. A lot of people believed in what Tesla is doing in the future. And that belief isn't gone. Some people are just doubting it now because the stock price is coming down so much, and this is causing them to emotionally lose faith that the company is going to achieve all of these things. I still believe that they are going to achieve them, and so seeing that future potential just makes me want to buy more. Now, we're also getting some rumors floating around out there about, this is something intentional by Elon and Tesla driving the stock price down so they can take the company private. This makes no sense to me whatsoever. Some people are saying that it's because of some tweets that Elon is making over on Twitter, and it's over there and he's, pissing people off. And there's a strong disconnect between Elon just saying things that offend people and this causing Tesla to go private. Back in 2018, this was a possibility because Elon was concerned about the company potentially going bankrupt, and taking it private was going to be the only way to save the company. We are not in that situation right now. we have a potential of getting up to $24 billion in free cash flow by 2025. If that's the case, we are so far away from bankruptcy, it's not even funny. If anything, the only other companies that are going to potentially go bankrupt over the next year, again, are going to be startups and legacy auto. Tesla themselves are best positioned to get through this, and bankruptcy is pretty much off the table entirely right now, unless there's an entire global collapse, in which case we have a lot bigger problems on our hands. And so I don't know where these rumors started, but I see no validity in them whatsoever, just because of the fact that we are moving in the direction that we are moving. I have not seen any indications from Elon whatsoever that this is even a thought in his mind. As a matter of fact, I see the actual opposite, discussing things like he's going to make sure that in the future, Twitter is going to make sure that Tesla shareholders are going to benefit as well. He wouldn't make that statement if he was planning on taking Tesla private. No, playing the devil's advocate, some people say, well, this is exactly what a con man would do. He would tell you right to your face exactly what you want to hear and then pull the rug out from underneath you. So you can believe whatever you want to believe, and it doesn't matter what anybody says. If you're not going to believe Elon, you're not going to believe Elon. So you're either going to believe him or you're not, and it's your own decision. And again, this is where you do your own research and due diligence, and then you invest accordingly. Personally, I believe him, so I'm investing accordingly, but as I had mentioned before, I have my plan, so I'm also protected. I am not all in on Tesla stock. I'm currently at 62%, and that's just because it keeps on dropping. I was over 70%, but I continue to add daily, and Tesla is the only stock that I am currently adding to. So again, you've got to do what's best for you and your own portfolio based upon how you think the company is going to be going. And I always recommend doing that and making sure that you protect yourself one way or the other. If you have that conviction and you have a high risk tolerance and you want to be all in, hey, I'm not going to stop you. You just got to do it on your own. Just remember that you are the one that is making that decision, and you alone are responsible for what happens with that decision. And so today, with the stock price potentially coming under $100, I am going to be responsible for adding more if we come down to that level, just because this is where I see my future going, and I am anticipating the next 12 to 18 months to be the best buying opportunity I can potentially have for the next 10 years, and I want to take advantage of it as much as possible. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a membership program and a Patreon. Those links are also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.